Hi, I'm Nandit. I'm a multidisciplinary artist and designer from Bangalore, India. I recently graduated with an MA in Art and Science from Central St. Martin's University and have a background in architecture. My practice explores experiential design and existentialism. Recently, in the past few years, I've been really interested in kinetic sculpture, which has culminated in the start of a series that I call the Big Electron. I am motivated to making kinetic sculpture that invites audiences to interact with them and motivates them to unlock their curiosity about ancient cultures, about the interconnectedness between different human cultures, and also non-human entities. This is the latest of my kinetic sculpture series called The Big Electron. There's this comedian named George Carlin who was active in America during the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And in his 1992 stand up comedy special in New York, he talks about this concept of the big electron. He imagines all of existence, all of life interconnected in this pulsating ball of energy. It doesn't reward, it doesn't punish, it doesn't give, it doesn't take, it simply is for a little while. I think that really inspired me all those years ago when I saw it as a child. And with the Big Electron series that I'm currently undertaking, I wanted to somehow mirror those feelings that I felt of interconnectedness with all of existence. So I got a bunch of inspiration from ancient cultures, their symbology, and mapped them onto mechanical systems that we've known for centuries. It's kind of like a timeless machine. Eventually, the Big Electron, the sculpture, became the first of a series. And now I am exploring the Big Electron 2, which is the second of the series. In the Big Electron 2, I'm inspired by totem poles, which are indicative or which are mostly from cultures of North America, indigenous Native American, and also African traditional masks. These aesthetics have really inspired me to make something that's cross-cultural, but again, with the mesmerizing effect of kinetic sculpture. Again, the Big Electron 2 invites audiences to interact with it with 3 Meccano spring motors and step back and observe the sculpture. It's just in the same lines as Mr. Carlin intended, for us to just exist for a little while. The theme of interplay, elegant movement, and how it inspires design education in architecture and products, I think is crucial or at the core of my design practice and kinetic sculpture series. I think elegant movement or the word elegant can be misconstrued as something that is static, that is something that is purely aesthetic. I think elegance is timeless. Elegance can be atemporal. Elegance doesn't have to be specific to one culture or person or community. It transcends all those borders of culture and time, and also the individual to come together as a collective. So I feel my sculpture series and my work in general aims to have some sort of elegant movement. I don't think it has to be necessarily specific to um, natural beauty or aesthetics, but it has to do something with something that's timeless. And I feel I am driven to making sculptures that are more like relics or antiques than present contemporary pieces. I've always found it quite interesting when I see people engage with the sacred geometrical forms that I superimpose onto mechanical systems. Some of them report that they've seen something like this in their hometown, in the architecture or the art in their small local area that they grew up in. Some of them are reminded of their travels across the world, and some adopt different cultures or sacred geometrical forms to their own. So, what I find really interesting is the first part of it, which brings people together. By putting these different sacred geometrical forms together, I inspire them. And on the second is the mesmerization that sacred geometrical forms play. When these movements occur within these mechanical systems, the observer or an audience, they follow a gear onto another gear, onto a crankshaft, and they can see the transfer of energy happening. I think this also reflects our space in the universe and our time in on this earth as a whole. Say my inspiration or my motivation is to help people alleviate their stress, to find repose or respite from their day-to-day anxieties. And I think this all comes together with community, and there's nothing like play. um, in my practice and in my time of showing the big electron and my other toys, I have seen people come together for the act of play. And more than anything, it brings joy to so many people. I add these kind of playful games to the sculptures where you need to find hidden gems within the sculpture, like ladders, and that plays with scale. I think that reflects onto, is this sculpture a maquette for a much bigger building or a different product? I don't think we need more double glaze or triple glaze 50, 60-story buildings anymore. I don't think our laptops and computers and iPhones and Samsungs have to be sleek, uninspiring slabs. I think we can promote diversity. We've traded off so much of uh, hardware for software, and with the growing um, uh, problem of anxiety and addiction to our cell phones and technology, I think it's time that we take a step back and rethink about our design, and to promote more cultural diversity instead of some sort of globalized robotic sense of aesthetic. But yeah, as a whole, I might have multiple goals with making these sculptures, but at a very base level, as I said before, is just to help people come together, have a bit of fun with the sculpture. I find community with observers and audiences when they interact with my work and talk to me about their own existential dread or anxiousness of day-to-day problems. It's been very surprising and honestly very rewarding, more than putting smiles on people's faces, where individuals come up to me and tell me about their day-to-day problems or their relationship with existence and the contemplation of origins of the universe. And I think just in speaking with either me or the community that forms around these sculptures, it helps. It alleviates that stress for a little while, and maybe in the long run it does make a difference. When a person is allowed to touch the work and interact with it, uh, it brings their guard down. It makes them feel a bit more relaxed. It's the idea of play again within an art gallery, which time and again has proven very powerful of getting people comfortable within highbrow art gallery spaces and just making it for everyone. In terms of production, the only time that these sculptures could have been made is probably now or in the last couple of decades. I use technology such as CAD and CAM software and machinery like laser cutters and CNC routers and 3D printers. Yet I'm trying to achieve an aesthetic of centuries ago using technology from today. So I think that's again a very unique experience of these sculptures, not just in the aesthetic of it and the concept of it, but in the making of it. So again, we still go back to this kind of timelessness of the design process. It starts with mark making, but now we go digital, simulations, animations, into these big CNC routers and computer aided machinery, creating these parts back to the human, assembling these parts together, put in a space for interactivity. People come and play with it. The whole process of it is quite unique to itself, and I feel that's what makes my entry unique to the Interplay Design Competition. Thank you.